Nobody wants to talk about what Laura Siegemund actually does on a tennis court. The media glosses over it. The commentators dance around it. And Siegemund herself, she has turned playing the victim into an art form every single time someone calls her out. But we are going to talk about it today because she just drew an opponent at the Miami Open who has survived everything the system could throw at her. Bad calls, overturned points, officials actively working against her in the biggest moments, officials actively working against her in the court form every single time someone calls her out. And she is still standing, still coming. Siegemund thinks she knows how this match goes. She has run the same playbook for 2 years and gotten away with it every single time. But I genuinely think she has never faced someone like this before. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why this second round match might be the most important storyline of the entire 2026 Miami Open. The draw dropped and on paper this looks simple. Laura Siegemund, 31st seed, got a bye in the first round. Alex Eala came through her section and earned her spot. Two players, one court, one match. Except if you have been watching this tour for the last 12 months, you already know that nothing involving Laura Siegemund is ever just a tennis match. There is always a subplot. There is always a moment where the umpire becomes the story. There is always someone walking off that court feeling like they competed against two opponents. And Ayala has her own story running parallel to all of this. A story about what kind of person you become when the pressure is not just coming from the scoreboard but from every single direction at once. That is the real match inside this match. And you need to understand both of them fully. So let's build the Siegemund picture honestly, because she is a legitimate player. Her defensive game is elite. Her ability to stay in long grinding rallies, to reset from positions that most players would have already conceded, to construct points from nothing. That is real skill and it already conceded, to construct points from nothing. But there is something that her ranking does not show you, and it is something that everyone on this tour privately knows about. Laura Siegemund has a pattern, and this pattern activates specifically when she is in danger, when the match is slipping, when her opponent is playing well and the score is moving in the wrong direction. That is when the match stops being about tennis. Towel after every single point. Extra bounces before serves, long pauses before serves, long pauses that have nothing to do with fatigue and everything to do with destruction, not physical destruct. Because what she is doing in those moments is not resting. She is surgically removing the rhythm from her opponent's game one stolen second at a time. And we have proof. Last year's US Open, Siegemund knew exactly what she was doing. Now if you know anything about Coco Gauff, you know that her entire game is built on momentum. She needs pace, she needs energy, she needs the match to move fast so she can ride the wave of it. Take that away and you take her game away. Siegemund knew exactly what she can ride the wave. Siegemund knew exactly what she was doing. From almost the first game the delays started. Every point was followed by a towel break. Every game had pauses that stretched way beyond anything reasonable. And Goff was just standing there at the baseline waiting. You could watch the energy leaving her body in real time, the frustration building, the rhythm dissolving. Then the umpire stepped in with a time violation. And here is where Siegemund showed you exactly who she is. Because she did not accept it. She did not accept it. She did not take the warning and move on like any other player would. She stopped the match. She argued. She protested. She made the official the villain. And then she sat down in front of the cameras after the match and said this. They treated me like I was a cheater. Like I was trying sneaky ways to win this match or something. They treated me like I was a bad person. Go watch that clip. Then go watch the match tape. Then you tell me which version of events lines up with what actually happened on that court. And if that was the only time it happened on that court. And if that was the only time it happened, you could maybe give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was a bad day. Maybe the pressure got to her. But it was not the only time. 2026 Australian Open. Harriet Hughes on the other side of the net this time. Different tournament, different city, different opponent. Same exact script. Siegemund serves when Hughes is a method. Method any mode serves when Hughes is clearly not ready. Wins the point. Hughes calls the umpire. And Siegemund immediately pivots to accusing the official of bias. Positioning herself as the victim once again. Two tournament city their opponent. Two often tournament seven TT. Different opponent. Siegemund serves when Hughes is not coincidence anymore. This is a method. And here is the thing about this method that most people completely fail to understand. It is not just bad sportsmanship. It is a targeted weapon. It is designed specifically to destroy a certain type of player. The rhythm dependent player. The player who feeds off pace and momentum and energy. You disrupt that rhythm and you do not just slow them down. You hollow them out. You make the match feel impossible before the big points even arrive. That is the strategy. That is what Siegemund is selling every time she reaches for that towel a little too slowly. So the question that actually matters heading into Miami is not whether Eala can hit a better forehand than Siegemund. The question is whether Eala is the kind of player this weapon works on. And when you actually look at what Eala has been through, the honest answer is that Siegemund might have made the worst possible draw she could have gotten. Because Alex Eala has not just faced pressure on a tennis court, she has faced the entire system pushing against her. And she has faced the entire system pushing against her, and she has found a way through it every single time. During the 2026 Australian Open qualifiers, Ayala was in a match she had to win, and the officiating went sideways. Points called against her that analysts questioned publicly afterward, decisions at the worst possible moments that had nothing to do with how either player was actually performing. And you know what that feels like as a competitor? It does not just feel unfair. It feels like the floor disappearing underneath you, like no matter how hard you compete, no matter how right your decisions are, something completely outside your control can erase it all in a second. Most players dissolve in that moment. They start fighting the officials instead of fighting the match. The anger from one bad call spreads into the next rally, and the one after that, and suddenly the match is gone and they never even saw it leave. Ayla called for a review. The decision was reversed. And then she played the next point like nothing had happened. No celebration, no visible relief. She just competed. And that right there is the specific mental skill that makes her the wrong opponent for Laura Siegemund to be drawing at this tournament. The ability to feel an injustice completely, deal with it properly, put it down entirely, and immediately return to full competitive focus. That is not natural, that is trained. That is something you build through going through hard things and coming out the other side still locked in. And she has been building something else too. In preparation for Miami, Ayala has been training with Joel Fana, a rising ATP name whose playing style is basically the opposite of everything Siegemund is going to try to manufacture. Fana plays with relentless pace. He never lets you settle. He never gives you a comfortable moment. Every single point at practice feels like the most important point of the match. Think about what weeks of that does to a player who is about to face someone whose entire strategy depends on creating discomfort and unpredictability. Sigamund's plan is to take away Ayala's rhythm, but Ayala just spent her entire preparation period training without one. Here is how I see this match playing out on court. Sigamund tests early. She has to. She needs information before she commits to the full strategy. So in the first 2 or 3 games, expect the slow towel breaks to start. Expect the pauses before serves. Expect her to probe Ayala's body language for one specific thing. One flicker. One exhale that is slightly too heavy. One racket bounce that says this is getting to me. That is all she needs. Because once she sees that signal, she escalates and she is very good at escalate. The whole match changes. But if Ayala shows her nothing, if she stands at that baseline with the same expression on her face, whether the point takes 8 seconds or 8 minutes, Sigamund loses her entry point. And now she has to win with tennis alone. And against a focused, physically prepared, mentally locked in opponent who has been training at ATP intensity for weeks, winning with tennis alone is a very different conversation. Here is what this match is really about though. Because it is bigger than Ayala and Sigamund, there are players on this tour who use gamesmanship as one tool in a full toolkit. And there are players who have made gamesmanship the whole toolkit. And when you build your entire game around psychological disruption, when you make the umpire your instrument and the rulebook your weapon, and you keep getting away with it year after year, eventually you are going to walk onto a court against someone who already knows the tricks, who already has the mental armor, who has already has the mental armor, who has already has the mental armor. Siegemund has been getting away with this for 2 years. At the US Open, she got away with it. At the Australian Open, she got away with it. Miami might be where the bill comes due, or she might run the exact same script and win again. That is the honest truth. But I will tell you this, Ayala is the most prepared she has ever been for exactly this type of match. She has the receipts from everything she has survived. She has the receipts from everything she has survived. She has the training. She has the training. She has the mental foundation. And she is walking into this match with nothing to prove and everything to play for. Sigamund thinks she knows how this goes. She has seen this script before. She wrote it. But the player standing across the net this time has already lived through a rougher version of it and came out the other side still competing. That is the matchup. That is what is really at stake. And that is why this is a match you need to be watching when Miami starts. Tell me your prediction in the comments right now. Does Siegemund try the same tactics? Does Eala hold her focus when it gets uncomfortable? Who takes this match and how does it end? Subscribe if you are new because the same day reaction video is coming the moment this match finishes. And based on everything we just broke down, that reaction video is going to be one of the best things we have done on this channel. See you there.